It looks like a campaign ad, it sounds like a campaign ad, but Congresswoman Lauren Bobert made it with taxpayer money. We'll explain why that's legal. A school district in the news tells teachers to shut up about what's going on around there, so they're suing. We catch up again with the Chavez family, 20 months into their journey since the Marshall Fire. The family matriarch is finally moving back into the neighborhood she loves.
Nothing like coming home, you know.
And the 345th edition of your Friday Good News, because no week around here ends on a down note, because this is next. Your elected representatives in Congress are not allowed to campaign with taxpayer dollars, but let's be honest, rules were made to be bent, whether it's elected officials traveling on your dime to electorally advantageous areas, or whether it's Congresswoman Lauren Bobert fighting back against an attack ad with an ad made with taxpayer dollars. Here's Marshall Zellinger.
You leave no one behind. But Lauren Bobert voted against health care for veterans who were exposed to the toxic burn pits.
This is a political ad paid for by Rocky Mountain Values, a group trying to unseat Republican Congresswoman Lauren Bobert. But this next ad about a politician is not a political ad.
Don't believe the lies you are hearing about Congresswoman Bobert and veterans.
In fact, you, the taxpayer, paid for this one. Take a listen.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
What is that gobbledygook? This ad, which appears online and on the radio, is paid for by Bobert's franked mail budget. What is franked mail? This is an example from former Democratic Congressman Ed Perlmutter. He sent this mail to constituent mailboxes before he left Congress last year. It touted the Inflation Reduction Act. Earlier this year, Republican Congressman Ken Buck sent an update in the mail to his Douglas County constituents.
The type of communication that a member can use taxpayer funds to fund would be official communications.
DU political science professor Sarah Chatfield explains that official communications has limitations.
So reporting that a bill was passed, that a member voted for a bill, reporting on the contents of a bill.
Which brings us back to Bobert's franked mail digital ads.
I put into the VA to increase my disability, and I guess it got lost in the bureaucracy.
This one talks about casework and how the Congresswoman helped with his benefits.
As opposed to, please donate $25 to my campaign. That would be an example of something that's very clearly a campaign communication.
And that would be a clear no-no. Over the last 2 years, Bobert has spent the most on franked mail among Colorado's House members, $160,000, twice as much as the next highest spender, Republican Congressman Doug Lamborn in Colorado Springs. Democratic Congresswoman Diana DeGette from Denver is close behind at $76,000. Sarah Chatfield said that the Bobert franked mail ad that said, "Don't believe the lies you're hearing," is as close to the line as she's seen. However, using taxpayer money for ads has to be approved by a commission at the House. And the commission is even split, 3 House Republicans and 3 House Democrats, so that ad got approved for taxpayer-funded use.
It would be really interesting to know whether that commission knew that Congresswoman Bobert was using it to respond to another attack ad, and whether they might see this kind of tit-for-tat back and forth, outside money versus taxpayer money.
Conveniently, and I don't know if she knew about the other ad because I saw the paperwork and it looks like she got it approved in July. This ad just came out, so it may have existed already.
She knew the line of attack was there for sure, because they've been hammering that for a while, but she might not have seen the actual ad against her. Interesting. All right, Marshall, thank you. Social media feeds are full of teachers excited about the return to school right now. In one school district, though, they are prohibited from talking about school issues. The conservative school board in Woodland Park is being sued over that policy. The lawsuit comes from the State Teachers Union and its local chapter. District staff say they were kept in the dark about revisions to this policy, which prohibits district staff from talking to the media or posting on their own social media pages about school issues. The unions are asking a judge to overturn the policy. They say it's an effort to silence staff after the resignation of nearly a third of the district staff this year.
We certainly see it as an extension of the ways that the district is creating, these political culture wars. And it certainly is serving to act as a distraction. It's taking the focus of educators away from what they know and do best, educating the students of the Woodland Park School District.
The suit also claims the district is targeting union members by automatically enrolling staff in a group called the Professional Association of Colorado Educators. It's a self-described non-union group. It's like an anti-teachers union group. The superintendent told us today that the lawsuit is just a political attack by progressives. Denver Public Schools has quickly rejected a complaint that was filed by the union representing principals over the way that the school board is continuing to publicly criticize McAuliffe International School leadership. The Denver School Leaders Association grievance said that it violated district policy to have 2 board members and a board member's campaign manager personally doing the investigation of McAuliffe. The union called for a third-party investigator to take over the case. The grievance noted that Board Vice President Ayante Anderson passed out copies of the termination letter for fired whistleblower Kurt Dennis that included the former principal's home address on them. We showed you when Anderson tried to then take back copies of that paperwork at a public event. And the grievance says the board and the superintendent have been coordinating these personnel decisions and discipline outside of board meetings, as required by law. But within hours, DPS rejected that union complaint, said it fell outside the scope of the administrator's contracts. We asked DPS today if it planned to stop doing all of those things discussed in the grievance. We did not get a response. Denver's preparing to provide porta potties to homeless encampments, porta potties along with trash service. And meanwhile, of course, the city is trying to also shut down those encampments and move people to shelter. The first portable bathroom was installed today at the corner of Champa and Broadway. Basically a porta potty with an added trash can, sharps disposal container, and hand washing station. Like the trash service, this is also a pilot program that is intended to make these sites a bit safer until they can be dismantled. The city purchased 2 more porta potties for the same purpose, but they're waiting to see how the first ones work out. One family lost 5 homes in the Marshall Fire. Chavez has been in Old Town Superior for 80 years. Our Angeline McCall has been following their journey for the last 20 months since that fire.
Who's that? Oh.
I'm so
How are you
excited.
doing? You're excited. I am excited.
It was hard to be patient when it felt like there was no progress.
I'm still in shock, I think. Waiting all this time and then finally it got here.
During the past 20 months,
As long as I have my house, that's all I care.
Elsie Chavez questioned if this day would come.
So I think it's just of being anxious, anxiety that I want to come home and start working on the yard and working on the house. But I can't yet, you know?
She waited for her turn.
I can't wait to get here. I just can't wait to get here.
Just next door, her son and then her sister got their houses put in after they all lost their homes to the Marshall Fire.
All right.
This time feels different.
Because it's my house. I know Ted would be there to have his house, and Carmen got hers, but it's not my house. This is my house. So I feel better, you know?
The years she spent in her last home can't be replaced.
It's going to be cute. It's going to really be cute.
A new house on the same land she played on as a kid.
It's exciting. I think I was just as excited when I got my first home.
Land she's eager for her family to return to.
It was a long time coming, Ajito.
Elsie still needs to get her sewer and gas lines in and then get the certificate of occupancy to actually move in. She's hoping that happens so she can be living at home and moved in by the end of September.
Chavez family has just really personified strength and grace in the entire time that you've brought us their story. Seems like no matter what they're up against, they're so positive and they're so forward-looking.
Yeah, I think this is a family that has really shown a lot of their emotions to us, you know, very real and raw, and we've seen them go through a lot of ups and downs, but I think what really stands out is just how resilient and perseverant that they've been, especially with Elsie. You know, she's gone through her own battles as well outside of the fire, and so it's been really a beautiful thing to watch her be able to, you know, see that house go back in.
Resilience, the word. You came up with the better adjective. That's it. All right, thank you, Angeline McCall. Appreciate it. Students went back to school in the Adams 14 school district in Commerce City this week. That's a district with economic challenges in its neighborhoods, and there's also the state-ordered reorganization of the district ongoing. But you got to think the kids and the teachers, they just want to have a positive school year, right? And since Wednesday, you've raised more than $11,000 to help teachers and staff in Adams 14 bring creative projects and experiences to their students. The Adams 14 Education Foundation's Funding the Unfunded program does just that. They approve grants for teachers to bring fun projects into their classrooms or to help pay for field trips that students and their families couldn't otherwise afford. They even helped get a school STEP team back up and running. Teachers are submitting their grant ideas right now, and more of them will get funded because of our donations. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans kicking in $5 or more, anything to help the students of Adams 14 have the best school year possible.
It reminds me very much of the fire that we saw in Boulder, Colorado.
Emergency managers look at Hawaii's devastating fire, and they think about the way the Marshall Fire burned. And vets come to the rescue of some rescue horses, a whole bunch of them. That was an expensive dental visit, but it was free. That's next. The Colorado River's been the center of serious debates about water use lately. Now there's a group holding a summit on how they can cut back while keeping their golf courses green. Golf course owners in the Colorado River Basin are coming together this fall for a first-of-its-kind summit. They're focused on finding ways to operate golf courses using less water because each of their home states is scaling back water usage. We should say golf courses do not represent a major portion of Colorado's water usage right now. An industry-wide economic study in 2021 estimated that golf accounts for less than 1% of Colorado's water usage. The wildfires that devastated Maui this week are an unusual natural disaster in the islands where the deadliest threats over the years have typically been tsunami. But emergency management leaders say the conditions that sparked and pushed that fire were strikingly similar to what we saw here in Colorado before our state's most destructive fire.
It reminds me very much of the fire that we saw in Boulder, Colorado at the end of 2021, where an entire community was burned to the ground, spread by excessive winds like we're seeing from this fire.
That's the head of FEMA, comparing the destruction that we are seeing in Maui to what we saw with the Marshall Fire in Boulder County. Colorado's assistant state climatologist says both Colorado and Hawaii experienced similar conditions that helped propel those fires. Months of drought and then hurricane-force winds heading downslope on a fire day. One major difference is the loss of life. At least 55 people are known to have died in that fire in Maui. The Marshall Fire killed 2 people.
We tend to build homes out of more fire-resistant materials. We have separation between homes. In Hawaii, it's different. They build their homes based on other natural hazards like hurricanes, like big rain.
You know, Lauren Robinson, I think we've said a bunch of times, it's pretty remarkable for those of us who were up there on that fire day with the Marshall Fire that only 2 lives were lost, given the speed and the scope of that fire. But you did still have that same effect that we've had with the fire in Maui, where the next day as the smoke clears and you start to see neighborhoods, you're just like, I mean, good God, there's nothing left in neighborhood after neighborhood.
I know, and fire can be so destructive and so fast and so life-threatening. So we were lucky to escape with 2, but all of those 2, you know, those have big impacts, and same that go with Maui. So hopefully things get better there and quickly. Here, though, we do have some quick storms that have pushed their way through. As we take a live look over downtown Denver, we're cloudy but dry. Same goes for DIA, 77 degrees. We do have dew points at around 51 degrees, so becoming a bit less dry as we go through the rest of the afternoon. Winds coming in from the south-southwest at 21 miles per hour. So those winds are certainly picking up as we see these lines of storms push their way through the Front Range. You can see it here on our HD Doppler radar, especially as we zoom in to portions of Denver and the urban corridor here, where these storms pushed in from the west. They dropped a lot of rain, and in some areas, even some small hail. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning that popped up right over Parker and Centennial. That was allowed to expire on time, but the rest of us seeing quick downpours, maybe some pea-sized hail, lots of lightning and thunder. The good news, though, is these storms are pushing through pretty quickly, so they shouldn't impact your area for too long. As you take a look at our severe weather outlook here, none of Colorado has been under a marginal or slight risk, so most of us will just see general thunderstorms. We could see a severe thunderstorm warning pop up here and there, but overall, most of these storms are not likely to become severe. A little bit of good news further southwest, where we have air quality alerts. It's going to be a smaller area now. Gunnison County no longer included in this wildfire smoke air quality alert, though we do want to continue to monitor Hinsdale, Mineral, and Archuleta counties at least until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. This evening, we're going to watch for those spotty storms to move out, though we stay pretty cloudy. Overnight lows near 63 degrees in Denver, pretty mild for this time of year. Another warm day in store for our Saturday, where we're going to watch for another round of those afternoon spotty storms to push through. But what you're going to notice to start next week, these temperatures dropping into the lower 80s, much cooler before we start to rebound toward the middle of next week.
This is the most amazing good news we could ever have.
First time that a trip to the dentist has been our good news around here, but these were some pretty involved dental appointments, and the patients, along with their people, would not have been able to afford them otherwise. That's next. You ever see a horse get its teeth cleaned? I hadn't, till we caught up with the veterinarians donating thousands of dollars of free dental care to Terrell and Horse Rescue in Elizabeth. That was good news indeed.
Today, we are having the amazing vets and staff from Iron Horse Equine out here doing a free vet day for any of our rescue horses.
They are going to the dentist, yes. My good news is the continuous opportunity that I and the people working here have to help horses and make a difference in the lives of so many animals.
It feeds our soul to do days like this.
My good news is today is the most amazing day when these women have offered to give us a day to help our rescue horses, which is the nearest and dearest thing to my heart.
The fact that the vets were able to come out here and donate this entire day of veterinary medicine to us and our rescue horses is it's just something that we can't put it into words.
My good news is my son Ender is turning 3 on Sunday.
It is a form of therapy that uses ultrasound waves as well as electricity to run energy into the horse, and it's to see if alleviating his pain improves his quality of life. My good news is that in relation to today and all of that pain management stuff, I'm in the process of finishing my veterinary acupuncture therapy training as well.
This is the most amazing good news we could ever have.
How about that drill attachment that they had there just going into the horse's mouth? And that was something. Won't find that at Home Depot. Feedback's next. It's a sign that one person's music is another person's noise complaint. Viewer named Sue spotted this sign on Tower Road out in Aurora. Noise ordinance enforced, and below it, because modern music sucks. I'm assuming this is an official sign with somebody else's addition. It certainly looks pretty official there. We reached out to the city of Aurora on this, did not get a response or an explanation. If you see a sign that catches your attention, that one certainly does. Email it to next@9news.com or use the hashtag HeyNext. Tim writes in tonight about Marshall Zellinger's story explaining why Congresswoman Lauren Bobert could use taxpayer funds to put together what looks and sounds like a campaign ad. Tim says, absolutely loved that franking story. Franking is the way they use the taxpayer dollars. What the heck with that Hitachi TV? I was waiting for the shot of the Emerson clock radio. You don't like our vintage look on that? We'll go high tech for you next time, Tim. We'll see you next time.